Welcome to our second session of Roads Uncharted. My name is Benamiri. I am the dungeon master, and we are going to get started. Now, where we last left our players, they had arrived at the city of Saleen, and they were able to procure a room at the Wyvern's Tail. The way Saline works during the Festival of Aram is that they will actually assign people rooms as they show up. And unfortunately, our players didn't follow the rules, mostly because they befriended a really nice guard. We'll put that in all quotes. And, but thankfully, they were able to finagle their way in. And we are going to start a few hours after they arrived at the city. They have had time to rest, adjust their supplies, make sure that Maeve, the horse of Jokul, has been housed in one of the tavern's stables, and he has received a slip of paper with her stall number indicating that, so that they can keep track of her and who her owner is. So 8, Riala, Tate, Jokul, you have had time to rest. You've had time to recoup yourselves from your morning journey. And Jokul and Riala, you've had more time to relax from your even longer journey from the day before. And you hear the clock tower strike 4 times. And once the final chime has struck, you see, as you are walking the city streets, that musicians have taken up residence at and doors to many of the taverns and their musicians inside. Some are playing with their instruments, getting everything tuned up, but many of them are already playing music. Much of it is very jaunty, very happy-go-lucky, very lighthearted. You can smell pastries and meats cooking, everything that has been being prepared all afternoon is now available for sale. Vendors have officially opened their traveling shops and they're hawking theirs. Now, is there anything that you would like to do?
And well, I'm a bit overwhelmed. It's also wonderful and different, and I've never seen anything like this before. And I don't know what I want to do first. I want to see everything, so I'm just going to kind of run ahead of the group and just sort of weave my way through people and just stop and gawk at maybe some of the circle or the performers, and then maybe dart over and try to find where the pastries are and just sort of take it all in as quickly as I can.
So it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Musicians have taken up residence and are, as you wander the various city streets, playing different little jaunty tunes, and they're trying to engage visitors as they pass by. You see merchants that have traveled to Saline for the Festival of Aram finally opening up their shops, and they're hawking their various wares. You can see food and drink. There are many people selling trinkets and clothing and all sorts of goodies. Anything that you could possibly imagine is currently being sold at the festival.
Is there anyone? You said there were people playing music. Is there any dancing? Like any areas where people have sort of started to like stop and listen or dance?
Yes, as you go through the streets, there are people who will stop at certain musicians and they'll dance a little jig and they'll do their their thing, and some musicians, depending on the space that they have available, considering many of them are at intersections and crossroads of the different city streets, which are not that wide. They're about as wide as a horse is across, but not much more. Um, the musicians that were able to get spaces in the marketplace and other larger areas, you do see people stopping to dance and maybe toss a coin or two towards the music.
I want to grab the hand of the nearest person next to me, whether it's one of my traveling companions or just some random stranger. I'm not looking, I'm just grabbing. And I want to sort of pull them with me and sort of pull them in and start to dance with them.
That would be Riala.
So I grab you and I sort of pull you in, and I just sort of grab both your wrists, not quite your hands, but sort of on your wrists, and just start to like twirl under and then twirl back and then like pull away and then pull back, and just it's coordinated, like it's to the rhythm, but it's also like I don't know what to do with my limbs and I don't know how to dance to this type of music. It's a little awkward.
I haven't danced very much, so I'm sort of trying to keep up, but it's that's going very well.
And I'm gonna sort of like put my hand on your hip and start to try to lead you around in like a sort of side step and like a bit of a 3-step, and like turn us around and probably crash us into some people, I would bet. But
Riala is laughing and enjoying every minute of this, and she's trying to keep up as best as she can.
do you like dancing, Riala?
I haven't danced very much before, so I'm sort of new to this, but I'm having fun.
Oh, I'm having fun too. I've never really danced like this before, but this is so much.
It's quite different. You seem to have you danced before? You seem to know what you're doing better than me.
A little. Not like this. Not I've never really been in a place quite like this before. But thank you for dancing with me. And I'm gonna do this like super awkward short little bow. And I'm sorry. And if I see Joke, will be like I'm sorry, and just sort of gesture you over towards your Jokel. Like I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's so sweet, and I'll give a little curtsy. And I like dancing with you. Fine.
As you finish your bows to each other, the musicians have actually stopped playing and they applaud you.
Oh, that's awkward.
One more, come on, one more for the pretty lady. And they start to play another tune, and this one is a little faster, a little bit more happy. It's whereas the first one was a little more jaunty, a little bit more like a jig. This one is definitely more of a Virginia reel type beat. So definitely trying to encourage you to join back in on the fray.
I'm going to grab another person, just a random stranger this time, and just sort of hook arms with them and try to start like a big circle dance in the middle of the street, because I know that that's a thing, and I don't really know how you start those, but if we could start one, that would be really... I'd remember that for a really long time. So I'm going to try to get people to dance with me.
I'm going to reach over and take Jokel's hands, and I'll pull him and start dancing.
All right. Well, Riala, as you grab Jokel, he stumbles a little bit. He wasn't anticipating that you would grab him and actually try to dance in front of a whole bunch of strangers. But he's been by your side long enough. He's able to quickly match your moves. And for Tate, your stranger has no issue with you grabbing their arm and grabbing them for a dance. They actually start to clap and grab other random strangers as you twirl them around, and the street, as many people as can fit start to loop arms until the you have created a nice little line. It's not the circle you were hoping for, considering the space.
I'm having my Rapunzel moment, and I am okay with that.
I love it so much. So good, so pure. Riala has no idea what she's doing. She's like over and like trying to copy everyone, and like Riala looks at Jokel's like, I don't know, they're doing it, so I guess we're doing this too. And
at some point, as I probably like swing out to like the outer part of the circle, I want to see if I get anywhere near 8, and I want to hook 8 and pull 8 in as well.
Apparently 8's dancing now, or at least being dragged along, which is...
Pull you into the circle.
I'll start clapping awkwardly, but I'll probably... I'm looking around, trying to see what everyone's doing, and I'd like to imitate the facial expressions of all the people, like, try and match the one that the most people are expressing at the moment, and see if I can at least keep my feet moving so that I don't trip and fall on anyone on accident.
So the face you would be most imitating is a large grin. There are a lot of people laughing, people are clapping, they're smiling, they're pointing at the people that are out there dancing and not really laughing at them, more like laughing with them, but hey, look at what they're doing over there, that looks like fun, and just having a nice jovial time. There are quite a few people carrying tankards of ale, so I'm sure some of them are pretty drunk even at this point in the day.
What is this?
You just you hear the music, right? You just move to the music and just spin around, and sometimes you grab people and you spin with them, and sometimes you spin by yourself, and you just I don't go with it, I guess. I don't really know. I've never done this type of... And I'm gonna hook arms with 8 like very tightly and start to try to like force 8 to turn in circles with me to the music. Sort of, come on.
Follow your lead.
If at any point you start to get more comfortable, I'm gonna try to sidle you off to a new partner. And go to a new partner myself. So the circle continues.
Pretty sure you'd be able to do that without any problem.
Okay.
You know what, why don't you make a... let's go with a strength check. 8 may be pretty malleable, but they're still kind of heavy.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm so strong. I'm the strongest one in the party. That'd be a 5.
So you get ready to push 8, and you stop. You don't go anywhere with them. And 8 kind of just stands there and turns and looks back at you like,
No, you take her arm now. No, you switch. You don't stay with the same person the whole time. And I'm gonna try to grab the arm of the person I was trying to push 8 to, and try to. You go with her.
Hello, my name is 8. What's your name?
I'm gonna spin off with whoever I get.
She's going to look up at you and say, "Oh, hi, Kaylee, come on!" And she's gonna grab your hand and she's gonna run with you.
Riala's not switching
Boy.
partners.
Not
Staying in her comfort zone.
not so fast. I would prefer not to fall over.
Oh, come on, 2 left feet, huh? Come on, let's get those taken care of. We get those fixed. Come on. Hurry up before the song finishes. And she's going to grab your other hand, 8, and she's going to try and guide you one way and then the next.
Delightful. I've never danced before. Is this something people do commonly?
Yes, when there's music playing. What a silly question to ask.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, don't apologize. If you've never danced, you've never danced. I've just never heard such a question. The musicians, shortly after that, stop playing, and people around you are applauding again, and they're applauding the musicians, they're applauding each other. The musicians roll into a nice, slow tune. This one a lot more relaxed, very matching to the ebb and the flow of the ocean on the other side of the city.
That's really nice.
Kaylee is going to take your hands, 8, and she's going to position you in such a way that one hand is on her waist and then the next is being held in her arm, and she's going to start to try to lead you into a much slower dance.
Okay. Is this? Do you need me to do anything?
No, just sidle back and forth just like I'm doing, and every once in a while I'm going to push you a little bit and you're going to turn in the direction I'm pushing, okay?
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to just sort of stand in the middle of the road by myself and just sort of close my eyes and just sort of twirl and spin and dance by myself. Just sort of listen to the music.
Riala will take Joko by the hand and sort of get away from the crowd a little bit and kind of just like keep an eye on everything, and she'll like reach down and like take his hand. And they're not dancing, but they're watching.
Romance.
I know, tear at the heartstrings. All right. As the music plays and people start to wander off to go check out other musicians, other things that are going on, we lost. You see that there is a woman walking towards you, Riala. She is much older, looks actually quite a bit older. She's got very steel gray hair that is, you can see a puff of curls out towards the back because most of her hair is actually covered with a brightly colored headscarf, and there is at the top of the headscarf a gold coin attached. And the rest of her clothing is very brightly colored. It's very ornate, and nothing coordinates per se, but everything seems to fit very well. It seems to suit this personality of this woman who's walking towards everyone and calling out, "Fortunes? Tell your fortunes."
Could I make an insight check?
Sure, if you.
Do I notice anything about her? Other than like her appearance? Is she a pickpocketer? Pickpocketer. Talking is hard.
Talking is hard.
I don't know why I rolled with advantage, but I got a 13.
That's all right.
Not a 20.
There's nothing strange about her other than you notice that she's got some sort of aura about her. She's got this very faint glow on the edges of, as if you were looking at her as if she were a piece of art. You would see the character outline just on the edge of that outline is this very dimly set glow.
Have I noticed her?
You probably have. At this point, she's getting pretty close to the group, and since you weren't in the midst with the rest of the crowd and you're kind of just off dancing to yourself, you would have heard her.
I also would have let go of Jokel's hand if she was like approaching.
That
Gotta have both
aura,
hands.
is that something I might recognize as like a magical thing? Something maybe I've
Go ahead
heard
and make
about?
an
Or
arcana check.
okay.
And she's the only one with this.
Yep.
Well, that's a nat 1, so that's an 8.
You don't notice any glow. You just see an old woman in brightly colored clothing walking towards you.
I'm just gonna come up, sort of behind Riala and just sort of pull my hat down a little bit. But I, curious, watching her sort of over Riala's shoulder.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on her.
What's a fortune? That's magic, right? That's a type of magic?
Depends. Sometimes it's someone using magic, or it's someone just trying to make coin.
How do you know the difference between someone who uses real magic and someone who just fakes it? Is there a difference? Can you tell?
Probably depends. I'm sure that some people are better at faking it than others.
Does she look like she fakes it?
I don't know. She seems odd to me.
I want my fortune told.
You scream this?
Yes.
Yes. She hears you, and she's still a good 15 feet away at this point, but she stops and she looks in your direction and she sees you holding up your hand. She makes a beeline towards you, Tate. And
Hand on my hat.
she stops in front of you and she looks at Riala and she smiles, this big, toothy grin. And then she turns and looks at you, Tate, and says, "Well, hello, little one. You want your fortune told?"
Yeah. But first I have a question. Do you are you do you use magic in your fortunes, or do you just I don't know. Tell me what I want to hear. Cause I only want my fortune told if you use magic, because I like magic.
Well, my dear, there is no magic per se. The spirits speak to me, and I listen, and I share what they say. But I I do not do magic. Magic is not for Rovani.
Do I believe her?
You could make a. Man, I'm having a day.
I would like to insight check her, but I didn't want to just flat out say, "Can I
Yeah, you
insight
can go
check her?"
ahead and you can insight check her. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm having a day. You don't know if she's lying to you or not, but
I can't roll
you
tonight.
do make a history check as well.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be a little better. I've read some history books, 1 or 2 or 20 or 19.
You can't tell if she's lying to you or not. However, she did mention the Rovani, and that name strikes a chord with you. The Rovani are a race of people in Regiv that are travelers by nature. They will go from city to city, trading whatever goods they can. They have been known to be considered traveling musicians, bards, storytellers, and unfortunately, the occasional thief.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, they are a nomadic people.
Do I have any preconceived perceptions about them in regards to what maybe someone has told me about this type of people? Not necessarily true, but
I would say, given your background, no. You would have
Okay.
read about the type of the culture itself. History books that you have read have not really favored one perception over another. It has just usually been very simplistic, very vague, kind of a very glossed over overview of how the culture works.
But okay, well, okay. I don't really know anything about spirits, but a fortune sounds interesting. As long as you promise not to, yeah, fortune sounds good. Do we just do it here, or
Oh
is
no,
this?
dear, we must wait until the sun sets. Once the
Oh,
festival, what I will do, and she reaches into her pocket and she gives you a chunk of wood. And on the wood is painted a red diamond with a white dot in the center. And she hands that to you and she says, take this down to the marketplace later this evening. Once they release the lanterns and evening has set on, come find us and turn in that token. You will find me.
okay. It's a block of wood, right?
Yeah, it's a block of wood.
Okay.
That is your marker to show you have talked to me. I see the look on your face.
I will put the block of wood in one of my little leg pouches. If it fits, because it might not fit, because they're pretty full.
It fits. It's not that.
Okay.
It's a pretty thin piece.
If you need a hand, I could hold it for you.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna hand it to 8.
She turns and sees 8 and says, "Oh,
How strange.
oh, well, look at you.
8, do you want your fortune told too? Does he need a block of wood for himself, or can we both use my block of wood?
If you both come together, you can just turn me. The wood is really just to show that you have talked to me."
Okay.
Pardon me.
She swivels her head at you. Yes, my dear.
I heard you say that you talk to spirits.
Yes, well, I do not talk to them, they talk to me. I just listen.
Do you see them?
On occasion. Sometimes it depends on the kind of mood that they're in.
Have you always been able to do that?
Not always. My mother, she taught me the gift. When I was a young girl, I saw a man sitting at the table, and my mother told me there was no man. Uh, it was then that my family learned I had what we call the gift, and from there she raised me to harness that gift.
But if your mother was able to teach you about the gift, but she couldn't see the man, did she not have the gift? How did she teach you if she didn't know what she was teaching?
She swivels her head back to you. My mother had the gift. She just. My mother did not like to see people when she did not want to. My mother had a much better grasp of the gift than I do. She was able to block out when she did not want to talk, whereas I just see them when they come.
Can you see any right now? Kind of
She
look
looks
around.
around. No, not right now. There are too many bodies.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna turn and look back at 8, and she's gonna look them up and down and say, "It has been many years since I have seen one of your kind. How long have you been in sea?"
You have seen one of my kind before?
Oh yes. Perhaps not for 40 years though.
I see. That is quite some time. Is it not?
Yes, yes it is. Where is your handler? Is it one of these?
Excuse me?
Well, forgive me, my child, but the last time I saw one of your kind was done when I was on the floating islands, and your kind had they called them a handler.
What's a handler?
You know what he is, no?
No, he's 8, and well, they're an okay dancer, and they are my friend.
8. She looks you up and down again. Well, that is an interesting name for one of your kind. It is a warforged. It is a creature made out of materials, not often autonomous.
They
They are
are a
usually.
person.
Well, that is all well and good, my dear, for this one. But I am saying the last time I encountered one, it was not a person. It was a creature. That was how you put it, a slave, I suppose would be the best word for it. And if this one is able to be autonomous and make its own decisions, then good for it. And may the spirits bless you for that, my child. But many of them do not have the same capabilities.
Just not saying anything at this point, and my eyes are very dim as I just listen to them keep talking.
We'll come find you at after the lanterns. Thank you for the block of wood. Have a good evening.
You are most welcome. And she looks at 8 and she says, I definitely would like to talk to you. You have something about you that I would like to see if I can divine for you. And as she walks away, she just calls out, fortunes for sale. And she just continues down the street.
I'm just holding the block of wood and staring at it.
Can I see that just real quick?
Yes, of course. And I hand it down to you.
I chuck it as far away as I can. Just gone.
Why would you do that?
People aren't slaves. I didn't like her. I don't want my fortune told anymore.
Shh. I am not sure I like her either. But she may know something about me.
I'm not going to stop you from going and getting it and going and finding her, but I don't want my fortune told anymore. I want a pastry, and I'm going to go find one. And I'm going to go find a pastry.
And I will go with you.
We'll also
Riel and
follow.
Jokul, do you follow? You follow? All right.
We also.
Um,
When I was looking around earlier, did I see any pastry shops?
You did actually. If you were to go back down the street where you originally came from, there is a old man sitting against a tavern wall, cross-legged on a blanket, and in front of him he has a travel bin, and in that bin he has actually a little fire going, and on top of the fire he has a pot full of boiling oil, and he is frying fresh pastries on the spot as people come up and order them.
I'll put my hand gently on Tate's shoulder, and I'll say, I saw someone making pastries over this way.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I will, I'll lead the way
All right.
to where I saw him making his pastries.
It doesn't take you long to get back to the spot. It's easy enough to meander through the crowd, though there are a lot of people. It seems that many of the visitors to Saleen that you've run into so far possibly have been visitors for the festival for quite a long time. They meander very easy. You don't even have to say excuse me in order for people to move out of your way. When you do find the old man, he's still frying. He's got two little sticks that he's actually tossing the pastry and flipping it in the oil. And as people come and they wait, and he will pass on the next one, and then he'll immediately plop in the next. And as you get closer, he turns to you and says, welcome to the festival. What can I get for you?
I want 1, 2, 3. I want 4 of those, please. Whatever they are. What are these called?
They're called kanaffel.
Are they? Is it just like fried dough?
Kinda. He reaches into his pack and he pulls out a wad of dough and he hands it out to you.
Oh.
And when you get it in your hand, you feel that it is very, very cold, nearly frozen. It's a very hard ball of dough. And he holds his hand back out.
Give it back.
He takes the dough and rolls it into the oil. And as it hits the oil, it starts to melt. And when it melts, it spreads out just slightly so that it actually becomes a rounded disc. And he waits for it to fry up on one side, and then he tosses it with with the stick, and then when the next side fries up, he tosses it out of the pot and onto a towel that right now looks like it's been used quite a bit, just enough to get some of the oil off. And he grabs a clean rag, he picks it up, and he hands it over to you and says, "That'll be 1 copper."
I want 3 more, please. I'm gonna hand him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know, but one at a time. And he kicks his
Riala?
foot forward a little bit.
Here.
And when he kicks, a little cup jingles. And he goes and he puts in 3 more into the pot. And he looks up and he says, "Be careful eating it. It's going to be hot. But tell me."
I gave it to Riala.
Oh, thank you.
Doesn't take him long to finish the next 3, and he dries those off and grabs them with 3 more clean rags.
I want to give one to Jokel, and I want to turn around. And is Ilya with us?
Ilya had been with you for a while. She stayed off to the side and was watching everyone, but she's not following you.
I had it to 8. I know you can't eat it, but you like to cook, right? So maybe you'll want it anyway.
Thank you very much. And I put my hands out for it.
Bloop, can't hear you.
Sorry. Everyone at home could. Thank you very much. I would love it.
You're welcome. Cheers. I'm gonna eat mine.
As you bite into it, it is soft and it almost melts in your mouth. And in the center, you actually taste a burst of chocolate.
This is really good.
Oh, well, good. Glad you like it.
Really quickly.
Good. Looks like I still got my skill. Been making these for about 60 years now.
That's
The center has a different texture than the exterior.
It's chocolate.
Ah, yes. That's sweet, isn't it?
It's very sweet. It's really good. Can I have another one? Put down another copper piece.
He reaches down into his bag and pulls out another frozen ball of dough and rolls it into the oil and does his thing, and dries it up, and hands you the next one.
Okay, I'm gonna eat this one a little slower.
So, what brings you to the festival?
Our friends here were talking about it, and we were curious. We'd heard a lot of good things, so we decided to come visit.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah, I came to this festival nigh on 70 years ago, and when I was old enough to move over here, I decided I was going to live here. Fell in love with the city, you see, and my mum used to make these, so I said, well, what's one good way? Everybody always comes down this street, so here I am.
Where are you from originally?
Oh, here and there and everywhere. Used to travel. Me and my mum. Go from one city to the next. She'd make the kerfuffle, and when nobody wanted us around anymore, we went to the next one.
I'm sorry, so rude of me. What is your name?
That'd be Tom. Why do you ask?
Oh, next time we come, we'll come find you.
Well, that sounds good, my lady. And what'd be your name?
My name is Yala.
That's an interesting accent, Riala. Where are you from?
I'm from a very small town. Most people haven't heard of it.
Ah, yep. Known a couple of those in my time. Well, enjoy your kerfuffle. If you want any more, you know where I am. And he points over to this person that's standing behind you and says, "That'll be a copper if you want."
I'm just eating my pastry. It's really.
Are there a lot of people around us?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. The city's
Just in general.
not packed per se, but it is very crowded.
While we're like meandering around, I want to keep an ear out for anything interesting. Anything that's like, I don't know, current events. Anything sort of like that.
I've just been staring at the last half of the kerfuffle since Tom was telling his story.
As you meander, you hear people mostly talking about the festival. Many of them are pondering what big event that the Lady of Saleen will have for everyone tomorrow when the festival officially starts. This is kind of the pre-party of the festival, if you were. And you do hear every once in a while someone commenting on the Marquess of Sarandel and some of the troubles that they've been having lately.
Do I know where Sarandel is?
You do.
Okay.
In fact, you are quite familiar with the Marquess
Okay.
of Sarandel.
Got it. Just open my world anvil real quick.
Just hit the wrong button and my icons all went crazy. All right. You also hear about the Lord of Millar and how he is supposed to be visiting the city on potentially at the close of day one of the festival. It seems, from what you understand, that every year a new visiting dignitary comes to Saleen and kind of helps the lady or lord, whomever is at that point in time, close out the festival.
Okay. Do I know where Milar is?
Make a history check.
Okay, I can do that. That'd be a 15.
You know that Milar is on the western continent of Regiv.
And how far is Milar from Saleen? Do I know that?
Several days' travel. Saleen is on the eastern coast of the eastern continent of Regiv. So it would be a good couple months' travel to get from one to the other, depending on which route you took.
Okay. And where is Sardel in comparison to the two of them?
Sarandel is to the far south of the eastern, on the eastern continent. So very
Okay, so
far
the
south.
same continent that we're on right now.
Yes.
Okay. Just putting that together in my head.
But other than that, most of the talk is revolving around, oh, this musician was good, or this one I didn't enjoy so much, and this food was fantastic, and you need to go see this vendor, and so on and so forth.
Right.
As you meander, Tate, you hear someone calling out from behind you. Hey, hey, you with the tall metal man, hey!
Do I see someone back there?
As you turn to look, you see a young boy running towards you. The boy has white linens, like many of the people in the city, but he also has a banner across his chest. On the banner is the symbol of a fish jumping over a sheep in a field.
Is that symbol?
That face reaction was the best, by the way.
It's weird. Is that symbol familiar?
You've been seeing it on a lot of things in the city. It is on the doors at the entrance. It is on all the guards' armor and their
Can I make an educated guess that it might be like a symbol of Saleen?
That
Am I
would be a
smart?
very fair, educated guess.
Okay, I'm a pretty smart boy. I can probably make that guess. Just gonna nudge 8. And do you know that one? And just sort of point towards the boy.
Bloop.
I'm sorry. I had a spaced out. The little kid.
Yeah. Does he? They called you Metal Man. Do you know them? Also, are you made of metal?
I have never been called Metal Man before. I do not believe that this person knows me.
As the boy gets closer, he all of a sudden stops and he's very out of breath. I'm sorry. I've been trying to find you. A woman with pink hair told me to give you this, and he hands over an envelope, a sealed envelope with red wax.
Me? Or Tate?
Whomever. I was just told you'll find the group with the metal man, and that's what I.
Is it from? You said a woman with pink hair?
Ilya has pink hair.
Yeah, pink hair. I don't know.
Probably from Ilya.
Take it.
I'll take
A
the
nudge. 8.
Oh. Well, you found us. I guess we'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you do know a woman with pink hair, right? I mean, I didn't grab the wrong group. Besides, to look around.
We do.
We do.
Copper.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. And he sticks the copper in his pouch and says, well, all right, well, enjoy the festival. And he skips away and heads off to wherever he came from.
Well, suppose if it's from our friend, we should read it. Should we?
Well, she went missing. Maybe she went and wrote this and then decided it. Why would she not just tell? We should read it.
Open the letter. Stick my finger in between the wax seal and the page and just kind of break it up.
As a key falls out.
Oh. This was the key to the room. I gave it to her.
Oh, I pick up the key.
Is there anything else in the letter?
Inside, you see in some very hastily written handwriting, to my new companions, I have been called away on some very important business. Do not worry, I will keep track of you, and I will find you again. Perhaps our paths will meet on such a joyous occasion as the festival should have been for all of us. Ilya.
Our friend will not be coming back for the festival.
How is she going to keep track of us?
That is an excellent question.
Because she doesn't even really. Are we supposed to why didn't she just tell us she was leaving?
Maybe she couldn't.
But she was right here. She could have just handed us the key. And then I could ask her how she was going to keep track of us. Now all we can do is, guess and make hypotheses, and that's... I just bought yarn to make her a scarf.
Well, that just means you have to give it to her next time.
Perhaps the task that called her away mandated that she go without saying her goodbyes.
Well,
Fine.
if you make the scarf, it just means it will be much more special when you get the chance to give it to them.
Yeah.
That's true. But what if I make the scarf and she doesn't come back?
Then we find her and make sure she gets it.
Okay.
I'm sure it's really fine. And I'm sure we'll see her again.
It's not like we're real friends. We just met. It's fine.
We stick out like a bunch of sore thumbs. We'll be able to find her again.
That is true.
Regardless of how long we've spent together, I would say we're all very good friends already. Distance does not change that.
I mean, you all share a last name now, so I mean, how much closer can you get?
We are the
very good
Jones family.
That's true. We're the Joneses! I almost forgot about that!
That's surprisingly on point.
I'm so happy.
Well, what time is it? Is it lantern time? Is it dinner
At this
time?
point, it's about 5:00. The sun is getting a little lower in the sky, but considering it's about summertime, it's going to be a little bit yet before it gets dark or starts.
Is there anyone selling lanterns? Is that like something you can buy and participate and do, or is it more just something you go and watch?
So, if you've ever been to Disney, they've got those ice cream sellers that sell those little Mickey ice cream things on like pretty much every corner. It's kind of like that. Every corner there's a vendor that's selling paper lanterns. So yeah,
Are,
it is very easy to find.
are they all different?
They are slightly different in shape depending on who the vendor is, but they all are made of the same light material and they all have the symbol of the city on them, that fish jumping over the sheep.
I want to find the biggest one I can find.
Okay, you might have to ask around for that one.
I want to find the biggest one.
So you're gonna
Big
ask
as my
random
hat.
strangers. Big as your hat.
Yeah, well, big as my hat.
So you ask around, and many of the people seem to be pointing you towards the main marketplace, that big area where you first entered the city. And they've said that there's somebody set up by the cartographer's shop that is selling very large paper lanterns, and that she might be your best bet.
That's. I'm gonna start going there. I have a tendency to just go. Tate doesn't really wait to tell people. He just kind of does.
Just disappears. Okay.
And yet you were upset at someone else for leaving without saying anything.
Well, I'm not leaving. I'm just going quickly without announcing my plans.
I turn and look at the other two. I suppose we should follow him.
I see. And we follow our tiny big
New
hat
friend.
wearing, our tiny big hat wearing friend.
Okay.
We're following the big hat in the crowd.
Yeah, it kind of sticks out in the crowd for sure.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Oh,
Just
oh,
this
oh,
point
oh.
in the distance.
Like where you see people, all you see is this little.
We'll have to be in a city and use that as a reference point. We'll just like say rally at the
my
big
God.
hat.
Oh my
Rally
God.
at the big hat.
We could be that family unit that wears like all the same colors, but we're all wearing big hats, and that's
Yes.
how we find each other.
Tourists.
Yep.
I'm just picturing a very grumbly Jokul wearing a hat way too big for him, just like mer.
I'm so pleased.
Big hats and t-shirts that say the Jones family vacation
Yes.
1980 or whatever year it is.
That'd be amazing.
2982.
2982.
Only if Jokel's hat is a straw hat. It has to be a big straw hat with a feather.
If Tate could make him a straw hat that resembles Tate's own hat, Jokul would wear it just out of sheer pride that the kid managed to make it.
What is this if?
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Challenge accepted then.
Right. I've gone to buy a lantern, please.
Okay, so you meander through the streets and you manage to make your way back to the main marketplace. Many of the people that are here for the festival are in this space, so this is a lot more closely packed with bodies than the streets have been, and it takes you a little bit longer to meander through
Kind of
all the
holding
people.
my hat on my head so it doesn't
Yeah.
get knocked off.
Takes you a little bit longer to meander through the people, but you eventually make it over to the edge, against the wall where the cartographer's shop was. And you see a young woman with a little makeshift stall, and she's got some small lanterns, she's got some standard size lanterns, and then she's got a couple that are much bigger. like almost the size of a very large pumpkin.
I want one of those. I'm going to kind of go up to her and say, how much for the big one?
Oh, that one will be 1 silver for the
Okay.
biggest.
The big one, 1 silver. I'm going to hand her a silver.
And she takes that, she puts it in her pocket, and she hands you the lantern. And she turns to you and says, "Now, when you go to release that tonight, um, just make sure you you keep that properly lit. You're gonna need something to light that."
Okay, that's no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Astounding. How did the lantern stay aloft?
Oh,
Oh, it's hot air, isn't it? Inside?
exactly. Yes.
Um,
I see.
I'm not from around here. What does do the lanterns represent?
Oh, um, well, let's see if I remember the tale. Um, so over 1,000 years ago, when Saleen was first founded, um, it was originally just a bunch of farmers, and sometimes they would lose their sheep, so they would light a lantern every now and then, and for all the shepherds to keep track of where the others were in case one had to go out looking for the sheep, make sure nobody got eaten by wolves, you see. And then when they decided to start having the festival, they figured they would start releasing these lanterns as kind of a signal that the festival was to truly start, um, kind of as a reminiscent to those older and simpler times. If I remember it right, anyway. That's yes.
Oh, thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
I want to find maybe a spot against the wall or something where there's not as many people, where I can kind of sit and put the lantern in front of me and maybe be able to not have people step on it.
Uh, roll a. I'm gonna have you roll an investigation check on this one, only because there are so many people. I
Mhm.
think you're gonna actually have to take a look and see if you can find something suitable.
That's 14.
That'll do it. You are able to find a spot just past her stall and around the corner. So if you were to follow the wall a little bit, almost to where the stairs begins that leads off to the eastern side.
All right, I'm going to sit down with my lantern.
And what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to sort of slowly get out from my pouch my calligraphy kit. I'm taking my time. I'm kind of content to just sit here until the lanterns start going up. So I'm not rushing. But I want to take out my brush and some ink and just start to paint little birds starting to fly up around the lantern. Lots of little birds in flight.
So you're going to spend the next hour or two doing that.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
I'll
What
just
about the rest of you? What would the rest of you like to do?
I'll stand awkwardly
Uh,
behind you.
Did 8 pick up the little wood block? No. Okay.
I did not. My friend did not want the reading, so I did not want the reading.
How far are we from that spot? We probably walked a bit.
Well, she did say it was in the marketplace, so you could always check it out.
I think I'm gonna do that,
Okay.
and I'll let 8 and Tate know that I'll be right back.
Bye.
Ah,
All right. Um, So you wander through the marketplace, you keep yourself to the wall, and about midway to the other set of stairs that enter the marketplace, the ones you came down, um, you see an archway and a set of stairs leading downward into a back alley.
Is that where I want to go?
Maybe, maybe not.
um, I'll go take a peek. Sneak peek down the. Is it dark? Is it like sketchy looking?
No, it's pretty well lit. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's just an alley, but there are sconces on the wall and lit candles in them.
Yeah, I'll sneak a quick peek.
All right. As you head down the alleyway, you notice that there are doors on either side. And if you hear snoring, I'm sorry. So you head down the alleyway, there's doors on either side. And as you get far enough down the walkway, you see that it starts to open up a little bit. And in this courtyard, you see baskets of hanging flowers and carts set up, little traveling carts. And seated at many of these carts are people with a similar skin tone to that mysterious visitor, and many of them are also wearing brightly colored clothing.
Do I see the fortune teller that had talked to us earlier?
You do not, but the people that are there are all looking at you as you come through the archway.
I'll give a slight bow and approach slowly. And I don't know, because she's not there. I'll
One of
approach
the men walks a little closer to you and nods his head a bit.
hello. Someone had approached me, mentioning the fortune tellings. I don't see her here though.
Ah, you would be looking for Renella, huh? Wandering around calling out fortunes for.
Yeah, that would be her. What's her name?
Um, Renella. Um, do you have the wooden token that she would have given?
I do not. It was actually given to a friend of.
He puts his arms across his chest, and this man is probably close to 6 feet tall, so he is not as imposing to you as he should be, given that you are used to being around Jokul. But he is a lot broader across the chest, and his mustache is very thick and bushy, and his chin has quite a bit of stubble on it. And he tries to put on this very imposing figure, and he looks down at you and says, "Can you at least tell me the symbol that would have been on the wooden ship?"
It was. Did I? Oh wait, did I get a good look at it?
I guess it depends on how close that you feel you were standing to 8. Because 8 and Tate were really the ones handling the wooden ship.
Oh gosh, I don't know, because Tate had said he was behind me, but then I think he came around to ask.
I was
Yeah.
standing very close to Riala.
His hat blocked your view of the symbol.
Yeah, do you want me to roll for that, or should
Yeah,
I
go
just-
ahead.
Okay.
See if you remember.
What kind of roll do you want me to make then?
Viva. Give me a second. I gotta pull up a character sheet and refresh my brain. Why don't you do a... You know what? Just because I do an just straight intelligence check. That'll probably be the best.
18.
Ooh, look at you. Yes, you did get a good glance at it. It is a red diamond with a white dot in the center.
I relay that. Red diamond with a dot in the center.
He pauses for a minute and then he relaxes and says, "All right, sorry. We give those out because we get quite a few people that just wander into Gok Rovani. So we want to make sure you are a actual customer. So you want your fortune told."
Yes.
All right. And what about that one? And he points to Joke.
Oh, shoot. I feel like on the way walking to the marketplace, Jokel would know about the things that I can see and why I'm interested in going. So, like, he would know.
Oh yeah, if we're visiting a fortune teller, he would know. Yep, I'm gonna go with Riala to see the fortune teller.
All right. Does he want his fortune told too?
Jokel just shrugs. If she has time.
All right. Come. And he leads you towards the back part of the courtyard. And you see behind one of the standing carts, he leads you to a door. And he knocks 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the door opens. He leans his hand out and says, "Renella will be waiting for you in there."
We walk inside. And I'll give a polite bow again.
Jokel follows and gives a nod.
The guy-to-guy nod that,
The bouncer, that's funny.
I mean, bouncer for a fortune teller, that's basically what she described.
You got it. All right, so as you walk in, once you are both inside, the door is shut behind you. Inside this room, it is very dark. There are candles lit and hanging in sconces on the wall and a couple of candelabras, but for the most part, it is very dark, very atmospheric, per se. In front of you, you see a small table with a large, almost glass looking ball on the table. And around that table are brightly colored carpets and piles of pillows and blankets just strewn about. You can smell incense thick on the air, and you hear the sound of someone playing a viol, but you don't see anyone. You just hear it.
I want to approach the crystal ball. Essentially, yeah. Okay. I want to approach the crystal ball, and I want to look into it and focus on it.
All right. Roll me an Arcana.
12.
You look into the ball, and what once was clear suddenly becomes very cloudy, a dark purple cloud. And slowly, in the dead center of the ball, a light begins to appear. And it starts to shine out, slowly growing, dissipating the cloud. And once it is all clear, the light fades away. And you see a little girl, a little blonde girl, sitting on her bed, crying, her pale skin covered in light blue veins. And she's just sitting there crying. You don't hear anything, you don't see anything else. You just see a little girl.
Um, I'll close my eyes and shake my head. And I'll go back and sit down next to Joko.
Once you sit down, you hear a voice. So you did decide to come see me. That is good. And from around the corner comes the old woman. And she looks over and says, I see you have brought a friend that you do not have. He must have been hidden in the crowd.
He was, yes.
Jokal will step forward and bow and be like, "Greetings, my name is Jokal."
She looks down at the hand and looks up at you and says, Well, welcome. Want you want your fortune told then, yes? I guess since you came back, you took me serious.
I am interested in that, but I'm also interested in learning more about your gift and what you know about it.
I do not know how much I can share about the gift, but we can at least start with the fortune. So come, sit down, relax, recline as best you can. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and then let it out. Now, I'm going to touch you, my child. Do not be afraid. And she's going to put her palm on your forehead. And she's going to hum to herself just a little bit. And she's going to say, Yes, yes, I see you. Much troubled you are. Very troubled. I see a little girl crying. I see her running away from something. I do not know what, not yet. The spirits have not shown me that. But I do see death. Yes, I see plenty of death with you. Plenty of darkness. And a light poking through a dark cloud. A bright light that has dimmed in recent years. But there is hope for that light soon. Yes, yes, there is hope. And she removes her hand and she looks at you and she tilts her head and looks down at you and says, It is strange. There is so much cloud around you. The spirits. You are not from around here, are you?
No,
And by around here, I mean you are not from this world, my child.
No. Well, not.
How did you get here?
Um, I I don't really understand uh, the magic that led to us here. Um, we had to get away from something.
Interesting. I don't know in all my days if I've ever met somebody not from this planet, but you. And she points to Joko and she says, Jordan, come here. I want to see into you first before we get into the fortunes. She touches your head as well and she closes her eyes and says, oh, you are another one. Another one not from this planet. In
Twice
fact, you
removed.
She stops and opens her eyes and looks at you and says, do not talk while I am communing with the spirits, my child. You will disrupt the flow. And sorry, cat. She closes her eyes again, takes in a deep breath, and says, oh, a dark, shadowy place you come from. A place of fighting and great battles. A place of pride and wartime heroes. You are different. You suffer much. And you relive that suffering every year on a certain anniversary. I do not know why you would cause yourself such repeated suffering, but I am sure you have a reason. But you are another one that is just as troubled. Just as troubled. And she releases her hand. And she says, now, in order to perform the fortune, I need you both to take a drink. Give me just a moment. And she's going to go into the back room. And while Ranella goes and prepares what Riala and Joko will need for their fortune, we are going to take a quick 5-minute break and get some water. If you in the audience need to get a drink, use the restroom, please feel free. We'll be back in 5. All right, so welcome back. We join Riala and Joko in the living room of Ranella, a Rovani fortune teller. I like my alliteration. Thank you very much. And she has come back from her back room with 2 cups. She gives one to Joko, one to Riala, and she says, take just a sip of this now. And then once I get talking with my exercises, finish the cup. It will help the spirits to hone in on the 2 of you since you are not from this plane of existence.
Yeah, I will take a sip. And then immediately dies.
I was going to say,
No.
we worked for a thieves guild. When somebody hands you a drink, it's like, I'm going to sniff it and see if I can identify anything in it first. But
Riala, I don't know. It's the sense that she trusts this person. So.
Riala, to you, this tastes very bitter, very medicinal. Almost like a cough syrup. And Jokul, to you, you taste nothing at all. It's almost like drinking cool water.
it doesn't look like water, though, does it?
It's hard to tell in the dark. The cup is carved out of a very dark wood, and the liquid inside is not giving off any color.
Okay. Well, I mean, he drinks it anyway.
She turns to both of you and she puts a hand on each of your foreheads and says, "Now close your eyes and start to breathe in and then out. And just keep repeating that slow motion, that in, the out. Let your body relax. And then I want you to hold your breath now. Now breathe in. Take a deep breath. Center your mind and your bodies. Now drink the rest of what is in your cups.
So
I'm sure Rial is trying not to gag.
Jokel's just drinking his water, like, okay.
this is fine.
Keep your eyes closed, my dears. And I want you to think back to your earliest memories. Concentrate on it. Focus on that feeling. And just only focus on that. Do not even listen to the sound of my voice. And she pauses and she waits a little while. And you start to feel heat emanating from her palms, a kind of growing warmth spreading from her fingertips across your skulls, down your spines, and coursing through the veins until your entire bodies are warmed with the sensation of something otherworldly, as if a fog were enveloping you from head to toe, encasing you in a cocoon of warmth and comfort. Then you start to feel a cold shiver from the base of your spine, and it crawls until it reaches the base of your neck. And as that feeling climbs up your spine, you hear the old woman start to murmur in some language. She then says, "You, the little girl, you have something important you need to do. You have answers here that you are looking for. It seems you have found them. The spirits, they want you to go out looking for the silver thorn. Yes, I think that is what it is called. That is the image that is coming to my head. A silver thorn on a velvet pillow, I believe. That will be the answer you are seeking. And you, old one, you are looking for contentment, I think. I see you strewn across a bed of plush pillows, a glass of wine in your hand, and a plate of fruit. Oh, that is strange. But I think the answer that you need. Yes, yes, yes. The spirits are telling me that you need a golden claw. It looks like an eagle's talon, but it seems to be made of pure gold. It is encrusted in gemstones. Something about that keeps coming to the forefront of my brain. Yes, yes. Look for that. And with that, she releases her hands, and you immediately feel that warmth go away and that cold on your spine dissipates, and you feel normal.
Does the silver thorn mean anything to me?
No.
May I ask you a question?
You may ask any question you like, my dear. It does not mean that I can give you the answer you.
You call what you can do a gift. I don't know if I would call it the same, but I think I can do something similar. Which is why I came to talk to you.
Well, if you have time, we can discuss that. Do you have time tonight, before the festival begins?
Yes.
Good. Let me go get us some water. Now, we're going to transition a little bit back to Tate and 8. And we're going to leave this discussion between you and Ranella a secret from the audience for now. This will be something we handle off camera. This is the to be found out through the course of Roads Uncharted, so make sure you stay tuned. Now, for Tate and 8. So, Tate, you are drawing birds on the paper lantern, and 8 was hovering. So, what else are you doing?
I'm quiet for the first 30 minutes of it, really. I'm not really saying anything. Just drawing my birds, but after about sort of 30 minutes of painting, 8, I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not sure if I'm technically allowed to ask this of you, if it's polite or impertinent or just something I should simply mind my own business. But did you ever have a handler?
I had my memory does not go very far back, but I do know that I had a mother that I took care of.
Was she like you?
She was dedicated. She was wizened. And she loved food. Yes.
So she was like you.
She was. She was very old as well.
Was she? Because old means different things to different people. Was she human and old, or was she an elf and old, or
I understand the distinction, but I did not make a point to really recall.
Were her ears pointy, or were they round? Kind of point to my ears, which are just kind of pointy, just a hint of point.
They were not exaggeratedly pointy, no.
So she was human or
She was my mother.
half. Do you. Were you her slave? Because that woman said that people like you were being treated like slaves.
I have read about slavery in books and texts. I did things for my mother. I cooked, I cleaned, I gathered objects for her, I tidied the homestead, I filed things away, I assisted in her studies. I would not have considered myself a slave, for I was happy to do those things.
But were you allowed to say no? If she asked you to do those things, could you or can you say no?
I never wanted to say no.
But did you not want to say no because you wanted to do those things, or was it maybe part of how you were made or told that you were supposed to want to do those things and you weren't supposed to want to say no? How do you know if it was your own choice?
How did you know which lantern you wanted to buy?
I wanted the one that had enough room to paint on.
And why did you want to paint on the lantern?
Because I thought it might make me feel better.
And that would make you happy?
I hope so. That's why I bought it. It seems to make all these other people happy.
I served my mother for the same purpose. It made me happy.
But did she... That's it. It just made you happy. She didn't... I'm happy that you were happy with your mother, Abe. That sounds wonderful.
I frequently think of her.
Was she... Is she still... Can you go back to her? Are you planning to go back to visit her?
I can go back home, but she will not be there.
Did she die?
I am afraid so. Though I do not know for certain.
My mother died too.
I am sorry.
No, it's okay. I never knew her. But it's another thing that you and I haven't have dead mums and names that rhyme and
Would
uh,
dead family
that's
be
it.
something to celebrate?
Depends on your family.
I would like to learn more about cultures that celebrate death.
I don't know very much about people who celebrate death, but I don't know. There are probably people who do. There's gods that bring about death and people worship them. Maybe that's a place to start.
It might be. I've read about some of those gods as well. Tell me, Tate, do you fear death?
Don't I don't know. Not really thought about it. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think I do. I might be wrong. I've never, been standing in front of a dragon about to die. Maybe I'll be afraid of death then. But, right now, no, it doesn't seem that scary. Seems pretty far away.
May I help draw birds on your lantern?
Do you need a brush?
I will need one, yes. I do not have painter's tools on or in my person.
It's a calligraphy brush, but it'll work. Sorry. I like birds. I've always liked birds. I used to sit and I used to watch the birds fly off the tops of buildings. I always thought it was really pretty. Do you like birds?
I am not sure. I used to see many things that flew from where I originally hailed. In fact, most of the animals there could fly. The ones that couldn't, so I read, were at an inherent disadvantage in the wild.
I think flying is a wonderful gift. I think to fly is wonderful. Go back to painting my birds.
I also will stoop down and start painting or trying to paint birds on the other side. And, yeah.
All right. So, all of this has happened over the course of an hour between the two stories. And things continue to go for the next hour or so until you can hear the crowd start to quiet down. And music, wherever it is coming from in the city, is slowly coming to a stop. You hear the sound of a single gong sounding over the sky, the evening sky. And with that, the crowd stops, whatever talking, and you see people are starting to light their lanterns. Rial and Jokul, you hear the sound of the gong from Renella's living room, and she stops her conversation and looks up and says, "You must go experience the festival. We shall have time tomorrow to continue this conversation if you would like. But I would not let you miss that sight for all the secrets in the world." Riala, you're still yourself.
I will lower my head and say, thank you for your time and for talking to us.
It is my pleasure, little one. Now go quickly. You must go find your friends.
I'll take Joko by the arm and we'll head out to go find Tate and 8.
Doesn't take you long to find them. They have not moved from where you left them. See that people have managed to light their lanterns. Others are still trying to light them. You've noticed that as you get out into the open sky, that it is much darker than when it was when you went into Renella's living room. And you can't see it from where you stand in the city, but the sun is just coming to the horizon and it is starting to cast a rosy orange glow over the ocean. And the buildings, these white buildings, are getting a slightly pinkish hue from the sunlight.
I want to sort of stick my hand inside the lantern and just sort of snap my fingers until the flame begins to grow and sort of maintain a steady flame inside the lantern using my prestidigitation spell.
All right. It lights very easily, and you can see the flicker of the firelight as it illuminates the paper lantern, and you can see all the little birds in the backdrop.
8, do you want to hold the other side? Kind of stand up and start to pick up one side of it.
Of course.
So it's gonna, the flame is gonna heat up the air inside, and the air outside is colder than the air inside is going to be, and that's gonna make it go up. So we kind of hold it until it starts to feel a little lighter, and then we let it go.
I see. And get a big grin stretch across my face. Fascinating. Such a small scale.
It's science. I don't remember what it's called, but it creates lift. There's a fancy word for it, but I don't remember what it's called.
You hear another sounding of a gong, and with that, everyone in the marketplace releases their lanterns, and you see this huge cloud of them drifting up into the sky.
You ready?
I think we should let go now.
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna let go.
This lantern drifts a little slower because it is a little bigger, but it still rises with the rest of them. And as you all watch the lanterns drift to the northern side of the city, you see the eastern section. Lanterns are starting to lift from there. And as those head towards the north, you see the western section of the city. Lanterns are lifting up and heading out to the north. And then lastly, once those have gone over past where you know the ocean is, the last section of the city, you see more lanterns drift up and float away. And right now the city is in complete silence until the last lantern drifts over the wall. And suddenly the entire crowd bursts into a raucous cheer, and it's almost a deafening sound with everyone cheering and crying out, "Hail the festival of Aram! Hail the Lady Benjamina! Hail Saleen!" And they all start cheering and laughing, and the music comes back much louder than it was earlier, and all the musicians are playing the exact same tune at once, so that the entire city can dance to the same tune. And once the song is over with, the city relaxes and goes back to being quiet. People are shaking each other's hands and wishing each other goodwill, I should say. And they slowly start to dissipate. People are heading back to their taverns. The evening celebration is over. Tomorrow brings the real festival and all the surprises that Lady Benjamina has promised, or perhaps not. Maybe all the things you've heard are just rumors. Maybe you'll actually see that tiger dancing on a ball. Who knows? But the crowd is dissipating. People are going to bed, going out for their meal. What do you do?
What do we do next?
Should
think-
we head back to the tavern?
I think the celebration calls for more of those pastries.
I don't know if Tom is still awake, but what do you think, Tate?
Are there any lanterns just like on the horizon, or have they all vanished from view?
From your vantage point, you can't see anymore.
What do we do next?
About what time is it?
It's only about 9 o'clock.
That's Cole's bedtime. It's not.
Well,
It's not Riala's.
again, it's people
I thought
have
it was
been
some
saying
shit.
that, they're the evening, this is like the pre-party, so that's why it was kind of an all day, let's eat, let's drink, we'll listen to music. Tomorrow morning at dawn the festival begins. So
I'm gonna turn to the group. What do we do next? We can do anything. And I'm just gonna start spinning and sort of dancing by myself just on the street. I don't know if there's still music playing or not, but I just
there's no music, but since
happy.
many people within the crowd are dissipating, there's a lot more space for you to
Do anything.
I'll reach down and take Jokel's hand again.
Tate sort of comes to a stop, starts to come back over, and you see a big smile on his face, but just dried tear tracks on his cheeks. We should go get more pastries. That's a wonderful idea, Jokel. Come on! And I'm going to grab Riala's hand and start to pull them back towards where we found the pastries.
Tom is still there, still keeping his oil hot, and he sees you approaching and says, see, I told you you get some kerfuffle and you're always going to want more.
I mean, they're very good, so. Could we have 3 more?
Yeah,
Or maybe,
yes.
or 4
3?
more, sorry. 4,
4.
sorry.
4 more. Okay.
Eight, do you
You-
want one?
I believe I experienced half of what I would have liked to experience last time, so I will gladly take another one.
Yeah, 4.
He reaches, grabs more of his little frozen balls of dough, tosses them in, turns them with their sticks, plops them on the rag to dry the oil, and hands each to one of you in the clean rags.
And Joko will accept his and pay the man whatever we paid him before. Or
Copper apiece.
gotcha.
And they are just as good as they were earlier. They still are melting in your mouth, ever slightly warm from the oil, and that burst of chocolate in the center. Just
Tom, these are so good. They're like magic.
well, the trick with your kerfuffle, and always remember this, is always the temperature you're going to keep your oil.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be?
Not giving you my mother's secret. You're going to have to learn that on your own. Just remember that the right oil, the right temperature, that's the... Oh my god, H just totally got shut down. I just see the face.
Tom, can...
Tom.
Tom, if I may, this recipe, you said it was your mother's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, aye.
Was kerfuffle her favorite food?
You know, the funny thing is she hates the stuff.
I see.
She was just not good at making it. Yeah, my mother never had a sweet tooth. My father did. Perhaps that's why she was so good at making them.
Well, we appreciate that she worked on something she did not like.
All right. Well, thanks.
Is this awkward silence? I lean into
Yeah.
Tate.
Yeah, that's a really awkward silence. So
Tom
what's
is
with
just
his
gonna look.
mama's dad?
What did you say?
Should I ask him if his mom's dead? That's how we filled our awkward silence.
I take the other half of the kerfuffle and I just stick it in my mouth. And slowly start, like, mashing it. I don't believe that's a wise course of action.
I'm just gonna kind of brush it off your face.
I'm dying.
Tom's watching this whole exchange. He says, so, will you be needing any more tonight? Otherwise, I'm gonna shut down my operation.
I have a question.
Oh, aye.
Do they keep? Like, if we bought them now, would they be good in the morning? For, like, breakfast?
You mean cooked?
Mm-hmm. Because you won't tell us what the oil temperature is, so they'd have to be cooked, because how else are we going to recreate it?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted some raw dough. Yeah, sure, I can make you a couple. They'll last till the morning.
Will they last More than tomorrow morning. Like, how long will they last? Because I'm very tempted to buy like as many as you have right now. Keep them with me because they are very good.
It depends on the temperature. Like right now we're in a much cooler climate, being by the ocean and all. But if you were to get any hotter, they spoil a lot quicker. You probably get 2 days out of them before they start getting too stale to be any good.
I went to give Tom a silver.
Oh, that's very generous of you. All right, he starts cooking up the oil and or cooking up the dough, taking them from his pack, rolling it, doing his thing. Once they're all dried, instead of giving them to you in individual rags, he actually pulls a big rag out of his pack and pops all the pastries in, ties a knot on it, and just kind of hands you the sack of kerfuffle.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for making business good for me today.
Breakfast.
Thank you again. Should we head back to the tavern? Or inn? Tavern inn?
It's a tavern.
Yeah, okay. Not crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
I do believe it was called the Wyvern's Tail.
Tail.
Wyvern's tail.
Yes, we should go back so that we may sleep.
We head back to the Wyvern's tail.
Mm-hmm.
Joke will secret some of his leftover kerfluffle in his pocket to share with Maeve later.
Of course he does. All right. So you get back to the Wyvern's Tail, and as you enter, you see one or two patrons are sitting at the tables drinking ale or a glass of wine here or there. Craig is standing at the bar cleaning glasses. He waves to you as you come through the door and calls out, "So did you like the festival? Well, rather the welcome party. Did you like the welcome party?"
Have you ever had a kerfuffle?
Oh, I haven't had one of them in years.
Here.
Oh. Well, thank you, little master.
You're welcome.
Here. And he pushes a copper forward and says,
Mm-mm.
"I know what they cost. Take it."
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm not picking it up. It is staying right there on the counter.
All right. Craig takes it back. So, you ready for tomorrow morning? Festival starts at dawn.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I will say this. This festival has become our city staple for a reason. So if you can manage to last the whole day, you will never regret it.
We'll do our best.
Is there anything I can get for any of you before you head up?
No, we're good.
I would like a cold beverage, please.
All right, what can I get you? I've got meat, I've got ale, I've got some wine that my wife made somewhere around here.
Something cool.
Anything specific?
Just something that will be chilled. Please.
I've got something in mind. And he heads down the bar. And from underneath the bar top, he pulls out this small cask. A small metal cask that you can see has this sheen of ice around it. And he grabs a glass, pops the tap, fills it with this golden liquid, closes the cask, picks it up, puts it back underneath the bar top, and he heads back over to you and he puts the glass in front of you. That is my daughter's finest cider.
What is it made from?
And is apples.
Ah. I do not believe I've had cider before.
It's going to be the coldest thing I have in the bar.
Well, thank you.
Since you went to the trouble of pulling out that nice cask there, pour us all a drink of this. We'll all celebrate with a cup of it.
Is cider alcoholic?
Are you asking?
That's Tate asking.
Yeah. Craig looks at you and says, not this particular one, no.
Okay, I'll take my cup.
All right. He pours
So
all
now
of you a
we-
glass, passes it down the bar.
Now we've just set the terrible precedent that Tate and 8 believe cider is not alcoholic.
But I do know that it is made from apples.
And that it's cold.
Yes.
These are the important facts. This is
We're just gonna leave them alone accidentally, and they'll be like drunk off their on the floor drinking cider. It's not alcoholic. I'm fine.
oh my god.
Another episode, another one.
Well, to the festival. And new friends.
Jokel raises his glass and toast.
And
Oh, sorry.
kerfuffles.
Kerfuffles.
Craig just sits there and he's nibbling on his pastry and just kind of just chuckles to himself.
I hate to be a party pooper, but it's past my bedtime and I still have homework to do, so I'm going up to my room now. Put my cup down and go upstairs. I do not wait for a response.
Homework.
Oh my goodness.
Homework.
Jokel's just sitting there drinking his drink and just being like, well, I guess some things never change.
Is
After we finish these, we should probably head up as well. If the festival starts early, I'm sure we'll be woken up by noises.
It sound plan. And then Jokel's just gonna toss back his drink, finish it all, and then I'll be right back. And then he's gonna go outside to Maeve.
All right. You have a slip of paper that tells you which stall is hers in the stable that is behind the town. So it doesn't take you long to locate where she is.
Yeah, he's just making sure, like, compare numbers, go to the stall, double check her, brush her down, and then when nobody's looking, he'll just pull the kerfuffle out of his bag and give it to the horse.
I have to ask, can horses have chocolate?
Dogs can't.
Is it chocolate?
That
A
I
horse
know.
is not a dog.
There's chocolate in the center of it.
this?
This
horse can.
Yeah, Maeve's fine. She's got it.
I was under the impression that it's a pastry. It's mostly bread. Horses can have bread.
The kerfuffle and just keep the chocolate.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where like everything's frozen and then as it cooks, everything melts. So like the little frozen
Ah.
chocolate in the center will warm up, so it's a little soft thing on the inside.
Mhm.
All right, so everyone is heading up to their rooms then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Right. Rian, Jokel, it doesn't take you long to fall asleep. You've had a busy
Uh,
2 days. Oh, yeah.
before I go to sleep, I will pull out the map that I bought, and I kind of want to like look it over, get like the lay of the land, I guess. Like, where the heck are we?
Unfortunately, because you bought the cheaper map, it doesn't have any indication of countries. So you can see one continent, two continent, you can see a series of islands. You see that the world is called Regiv, and you see a little dot on the northeastern part of the eastern continent that just has the word Saleen above it. So you know where on the continent you are. But as far as any further details, you don't know. It's you essentially what you were able to procure was a more of a map used for decoration in a home as opposed to one for traveling.
Well,
You are here, map.
Yeah.
I plan to keep like in mind where I'm gonna be marking up the map. So like just like checking it out and be like, okay, and then I'll roll it up and then I'll go to sleep.
We've accidentally assigned ourselves homework as we're just going to turn this map into a drawing of our own.
Yep.
With flowers and animals and other things.
Homework squad.
All right. So you're going to
Nerds.
review the map. Yeah, nerds. You're going to review the map, and then when you're done, you're going to curl up and go to bed. And it doesn't take you long to go to bed. The mattress is actually quite comfy. It is covered with a feather down quilt and a nice cool linen sheet. And there's a kind of a sateen blanket that you're able to pull over yourself as well. And all you hear from your room is the sound of the ocean crashing against the rocks far below you. Tate, you're able to get as much of your homework done as you care to for the evening.
I want to study my spell book because
Figured that's what you were talking.
I have to do that, and that is a habit that I have. I study it every night. And then once 8 gets into the room, I'm going to walk around the entire length of the room, and I'm going to ritual cast an alarm spell around the entire room, and then I'm going to ritual cast an arcane lock on the door.
Alrighty.
That seems excessive. We have a door with a lock.
Now we have a door with a better.
I'm just imagining 8 watch you cast all these rituals, just like
Arcane lock is not a ritual spell, so I will just pass. My mistake.
I certainly am just sitting and watching, like puzzling as to why and what you're doing. But obviously not interrupting, because that would be rude.
And once the room is very well protected, then I will go to bed.
Same thing for you. Even with all your traveling experience of late, it doesn't take you long to fall asleep. The bed is extremely comfortable, and considering you no longer have to share it with somebody, you're able to spread out and pull all the pillows in onto yourself, since we know that 8 likes to stand in the
Starfish. Bed hog.
I will pull the stool up near the bed and sit side by side to the bed.
Take my pillow and just.
poor 8. I will ask you this. Do you do anything special at night?
Reflect. That's about it. I think about the day's events, things I've experienced, encountered, learned, and generally just pass the time.
Does anything within you shut down, or are you completely?
I am always awake.
You are the first one to hear it then. From outside your window, you hear the voice of a woman screaming. It's muffled a little at first. It is quite a distance away, but it's also inside of a building. And it doesn't take long before she exits her residence, and you hear her screaming at the top of her lungs, "Guards! Guards, I need help! My child! My son! He's missing!" As she continues to scream, other voices start to join in the fray until the entire district is nothing but the sound of people calling out for the guards. By the time the entire district has gotten involved, Riala, Joko, Tate, you all can hear it as well. And it grows. Each district bleeding into the next until the entire city is nothing but screaming and crying. You can hear trumpets sounding as the guards canvass the streets, collecting information. It is pandemonium outside.
Are all the people screaming missing their children?
From what you can hear, yes. And that is where we're going to end our session.
With vanishing children.
We will find out what happened to the children of Saleen and our potentially unlikely heroes in episode 3, which will be airing on February 23rd at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we want to thank you for joining us once again, and Bloop will run the end credits for us, and everyone have a good day.